Hey, yo, what up, what up, what up, what up? Welcome back to another episode of Respect the Detailer. As you know, I'm Marv, your favorite detailer's favorite detailer. If you're now tuned in for the first time, I want you to stay locked in. And today we're going to be discussing shop versus mobile detail. Stay tuned. Bah! So what's up, y'all? Welcome back. And on today's episode, like I said, I will be discussing whether or not you should have a shop or a mobile detail van like I do. Now, let's not get this misconstrued. I am not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to give you both perspectives and what worked for me. Y'all already know on this channel, I'm always going to keep it real with y'all. So whatever works for me doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. So let's get into it. So yeah, as y'all all know and can see, I am a mobile detailer at the moment. But a lot of y'all don't know, I had a shop for about 2 years. And from that shop, I graduated into the mobile detail space. Now, there's many pros and cons of each. I'm not gonna tell you to have one versus the other or one works better than the other. Maybe I will, who knows. But yeah, so here's the deal. Having a mobile detail shop is cool. I mean, not a mobile detail shop. Having a detail shop is cool. You get more work. You can get a lot more done. But at the same time, my biggest pet peeve or problem that I had with the mobile detail shop is the overhead. The overhead is ridiculous, y'all. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Think about it. When you have a mobile detail, not a mobile, I keep saying mobile, my bad. When you have a shop, the overhead could get real crazy. There's different types of insurances that you gotta have for the building. Having a mobile detail shop also comes with paying for light bill. You gotta pay utilities. If you're gonna have a waiting area, you gotta pay for Wi-Fi, for television, cable, if you're still getting cable nowadays. You gotta pay for all of that. You have to, as I said, have another type of insurance to where it covers the clients, the people that's waiting in your waiting room, as well as covering your employees, yourself, your equipment. You're gonna have way more equipment in a detail shop facility as opposed to being mobile. So the biggest factor in having a mobile detail facility, to me, is the overhead. Now, that's a con. I'm gonna give you the pros. Having a physical location is very beneficial because you're not facing the elements. You're not going through the challenging things that I go through day to day. As y'all can see, the sun is beating me right now. If I was in a controlled environment, I wouldn't have to worry about the sun. And on this particular vehicle, I'm gonna be doing a wash, clay decon, which is clay decontamination, and then I'm going to do a light polish. When you're fighting the sun, polishing can be very difficult. Thank God I do have some amazing products, and the sun won't really, affect it as much. But think about it. If I was in a controlled environment, I wouldn't have those issues. So that's pro number one, is You're always in a controlled environment when you're in a detail shop space. Now, another pro is you can have more vehicles. If I had a shop, I won't only have to focus on this one vehicle that's in front of me. I may have about 4 or 5 vehicles getting the same job, which entails more income. But at the same time too, having a shop, that kind of will force you to get employees. I know a lot of you detailers out there, y'all wanna, stand alone. You wanna work by yourself. You work by yourself, so you won't really care to have employees. Having a shop, with the amount of volume that may come into your shop, you're gonna need employees off the bat. You're a one-man band. Having a shop may be a little tough to sustain that type of work volume. So it would be ideal to get employees. Now, once you have a mobile van, you don't have them type of issues because you're a one-man band if you want to be, and you could knock out as much cars as you want at your pace because you're in a position where you could only do one car at a time. There's times I've done about 2 or 3 cars at the same time, but to be real with you, it's not really at the same time. And I most definitely have hired help in those instances because the volume was just too much for me. Now, so having a shop has its pros, which are the pros I just listed. Now, being mobile has its pros as well. The pros of being mobile is I work on my own terms. Even when I'm open, somebody can't just pull up to me and have me do their car. I have the option of saying no because I'm busy and they'll see it. So it's a little bit more controlled work, so to speak. But having a mobile vehicle, a mobile van, it does limit your income because of what I've just listed. So I have to do one car at a time, and it's not in a controlled environment, so that slows the work process down as well. Now, going back to overhead, which is what everybody likes hearing. You want to hear about the money, whether it's income or expenses. If you have a shop, think about it. Your prices is going to have to change. It's going to be very expensive. Why? Simply because, especially now in this market, let me do things on a small scale. Let's say you find a facility and you're paying $1,000 a month for that facility. Cool, which is highly impossible in this day and age right now. But if you do find a facility for $1,000 a month, cool, that's your rent. Now, your utilities, you're gonna need heat for that facility. You're gonna need air conditioning. So it could be central air or it could be boiler system. You're gonna have to pay for all of that. Depending on your area, prices may vary. It could go from $300 a month on utilities all the way to $500. So you want to kind of be mindful of that because of the fact that now your rent is $1,000 and your utilities is about $300. Let's put it on a low scale, $300. Now you're at $1,300. You got to get Wi-Fi. If you're getting Wi-Fi, let's say on a cheap scale, you might find a $100 Wi-Fi deal that gives you about 1,000 megabits per second, which can function a shop with multiple TVs, POS system, and things of that nature. So now you're at $1,400, and that's a month. So that's not counting the different insurances you have to get, because if you have a facility, you have to be able to have insurance to cover the building, which is for the landlord if you don't own it, to cover your equipment, to cover employees, and if you have a waiting area where guests can sit and wait for their vehicles, you have to have insurance that can cover them as well if something were to happen to them. So with all of that, the expenses kick in. So let's say on a cheap scale, in total, you're gonna be paying about $2,000 to $2,500 a month. That's if you can find the location that's at $1,000. What's gonna happen now? If you do a detail, you have to try to make sure you can at least make double to triple that in detailing in order to sustain and be profitable. So that's where I'm like, you know what, a shop, it's kind of cool to have, but it's not something that I'm really interested in. If I'm going to have a shop, I'm going to have multiple things in that shop. It will not just be detailed. It will be window tinting. It will be maybe sound and audio, things like that. You know, things that'll generate money on top of the detailing. Because with all that overhead, detailing alone may not be able to cover everything that you need covered. So it's two things you could do: either add other things and be like a one-stop shop, or you're going to have to up your prices. You're going to have to up your prices. So now, are you able to up your prices? Does your market have a demand for a higher price in detailing? Can you keep up with the current competition in your area? So these things is things that you got to factor in when you're thinking about when it comes to mobile. The beauty about being mobile is that, okay, let me give you my situation. When it came to mobile with me, I was able to keep almost 90% of the money that I brought in. Isn't that beautiful? I was able to keep 90%. Yeah, so I was able to keep 90% of the money that I brought in, all because I had less overhead. If y'all watched my previous video, I think I'm gonna try to attach it somewhere here in this video. Y'all see where I explain how low my overhead is being mobile. Car insurance, which is the van insurance, and also garage keeper's insurance, which protects the customer's vehicle and the customer's property. That's cheap as hell. So you factor that in, I'm paying about $100 each. That's $200 a month. Inventory, as you know, which I've told you in this video also, the other video also, inventory is not that expensive in the detailing space. We're buying things concentrated and diluting it. So we're not really losing any money on inventory in that regard. So being a mobile detailer, owning your van, already purchasing your equipment, if you spend all the upfront money of getting the vehicle, getting your equipment, which is your pressure washers, air compressors if you want that, buckets, vacuums, things like that. If you spent the money already, your monthly expenses may be at around $300 to $400. So if you charge a detail for $250, guess what? You already made almost 80% of what's needed for your monthly expenses. So I leave that up to you. You guys determine which one works best for you, and it's cool. But if you had a shop and you were to make $250 that day, you barely made 10, 12% of what's needed for your monthly expenses. So as for me being mobile and being a a solo detailer right now, if I do 3 cars in a day at $250, what's that, $750 for the day. In one day, I made more than what I need to spend on this van. Because I've seen so much detailers that's mobile or started mobile go and get shops and they come back to mobile. If it works for me, it could work for you. But definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Tell YouTube that I'm doing something right. Y'all like what I'm saying. I'm getting a lot of feedback, a lot of emails, DMs, and I'm willing to help. It's just that it's so much, so if I ain't get to you yet, I'm gonna get to you.